Uh-oh.
Adam Brody?
That's it. Got him wrong. All right. Thank you. Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Bender. I'm a psychiatrist board certified in child psychiatry, general adult psychiatry, and forensic psychiatry, and I'm a psychotherapist here in San Francisco. Welcome back to the show. We are going to look at pop culture from the mental health perspective. We'll look at TV shows, movies, video games, comic books, music, you name it. We're going to put it all on the couch at some point. And today, we're going to look at children, families, and family relationships.
I don't know what I am. I'm not a child. I'm not a grown-up. I'm not Marcy. I'm not Wendy. And I can't be what everyone wants me to be.
First up, we look at Wendy from Alien Earth. That is a typical adolescent behavior. She's being told by all these different people who she should be, whether it's her brother telling her she's Marcy, whether it is the boy genius telling her, no, she's Wendy. She actually has to figure out who she is, and that is normal. I'm somebody who doesn't believe adolescence has to be stormy all the time. When a kid is given room to be who they are, it isn't necessarily that stormy. They're supposed to figure out who they are. They're supposed to understand what their identity is. And here we have this Wendy Marcy character saying she's going to go ahead and do that. If we look at Nobody Wants This, a show on Netflix with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody, we think at first Nobody Wants This is the title referring to nobody wants this relationship, this rabbi dating a Gentile. Nobody wants this. What actually I think is going on is this is how Kristen Bell's character, Joanne, thinks of herself. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants me. And that does come from some experiences in her life.
It's hard enough for the girls to see their dad like this.
Someone new?
No, so affectionate and emotionally available. And the girls, they always wanted more from him and less from me.
When a parent is not able to emotionally respond to a child, they often feel like they're not good enough, or they must be asking for too much, or they're overwhelming. It's really hard for kids to imagine there's something wrong with their parents. That's almost like the equivalent of death for a kid. So what they do is they think there's something wrong with them. And we see an adult Joanne continually feel like there's something wrong with her. She doesn't say that. She'll often push people away before they can get close to her to see that. But this is fairly common. Someone who has this idea that they're not good enough, they're constantly judging other people because they have this feeling other people are judging them all the time. They have felt judged. They have judged themselves. They are too much. She keeps herself at a distance from lots of men because that way she won't be hurt the way she was hurt by her father. The fear that someone would get to know her and see all these things inside her that don't feel right to her.
Where did that come from?
Well, I saw you kept building that tower of all your stuff, so I got you a nightstand for it.
Are you kidding me?
She says it's the most romantic thing anyone has ever done for her. If you stop and think about it, it's incredibly sad to think that someone thinks this is romantic, that someone has actually thought of her and considered her and bought her a table. I mean, that's how low of an opinion of herself, or that is reflective of how poorly her interactions have been with people, that she would think, wow, this is amazing, somebody thought of me. It really probably is that she has not felt like people have thought of her or considered her. So let's take a look at a clip when a parent is maybe too involved.
I've spent my whole life giving you everything you wanted.
No, everything you wanted. The education, the travel, even my clothes, for fuck's sake. You've curated my whole fucking life.
This is a show on Amazon Prime that's a psychological thriller. This mother, Robin Wright, who has loved her son, sees that he's dating a woman who might be psychopathic, and it's not clear. We learn more about the son's relationship with his mother as the show goes on. And at one point, he finally comes out and says,
I had to be your perfect golden boy every single day.
You just had to be you,
No,
Daniel.
I had to be me and Rose.
he lets her know he has had to be what she wanted. This is pretty common, actually. I see adults, just like this adult son, who feel like they have to be something for their parents. They have had to keep their parents happy. In this case, there's this feeling that the mother would crack because she had lost a daughter. The son has to be everything for her. That's an incredible burden to have to do things because you feel your parents want you to.
I did everything you expected of me.
I just wanted to protect you.
No, you wanted to control me.
I often see this with individuals who have not had such a huge trauma in their lives, but the parents still have such a grip on them, how they're supposed to be, who they're supposed to marry, what their jobs should be. The oldest person in my practice was 91, and that person was still trying to figure out, even though their parents had long been deceased, how to make their parents happy. I find I see this quite a bit. People still trying to figure out how to make their parents proud or how to make their parents happy. And it's incredibly painful to watch someone feel awful about themselves because they want something different than their parents might. Other examples of parents being too involved, let's take a look at the Pitt.
Who can tell me about the CODA study? Honey, we discussed the study at home, right?
Honey?
Victoria Javadi is one of the characters in the Pitt. Her mother is a well-known surgeon at the hospital, and she's only 20 and in her third year of medical school. She's somewhat of a prodigy. The mother's demanding something of her daughter. And it's too much. It's too much. And I often see people feeling that way. Similarly, there's a case in the Pitt of Everett. Everett is a baseball player who gets hit in the face with a ball, probably at about 100 miles an hour.
College can wait.
I don't know.
I do. He's not throwing away his shot at the majors.
The father here is not concerned for his son's well-being and health, but the father's concerned, will his son get back to baseball quickly? Will his son be able to get back and be the pitcher that they've worked so hard for him to be? And Victoria, knowing very much what this is like to be under that kind of pressure, finally cracks and yells at the dad.
Yeah.
No, forget baseball. And just be his dad.
This is actually something I see in real life. I've talked to 9-year-olds who have told me, I don't want my dad to be my coach. I need my dad to be my dad. Or I don't want my mom at this game. I just don't. So parents need to be supportive, need to be present, not invasive. What that means is what Common says in Never Have I Ever.
Here's my advice. Sometimes I come home dead tired from a long day of work, and my son asks me for something I can't even wrap my mind around. If your child needs you, you just say yes.
What he's saying is not say yes to your kids when they want to do ridiculous things. What he's saying is be present. And that is how you can actually develop a good relationship with your child. You have to parent the child that you have, not the child you want. So the child you have might not be an athlete. They might not be interested in academics. They might not be interested in fashion or TV or movies. They are who they are. Support who they are. Encourage them to develop parts of themselves. Ask them about themselves or make an observation. That's what can be really helpful. And let's look no further than Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as to how he can make room for a young person.
This works out better for me, you know, as slim as the summer come to class wearing next to nothing, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's all right to be angry.
I learned how to drive, I learned how to shave, I learned how to fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. The hell with him!
This scene was from the 90s when people parented very differently, and invasive parenting or helicopter parenting was very common. So this was remarkable for back then, but it's good parenting then and it's good parenting now. Uncle Phil leaves room for Will's feelings. He doesn't try to stop him from being mad at his father, who's just walked out. He doesn't try and stop him and say, oh, no, everything's going to be okay. And that's something as parents you can do. Don't try to get rid of the emotions. Don't try to patch everything up. Let your child have their feelings. And Uncle Phil does a great job of that here.
I'm sorry. If there was something that I
Hey,
could
you know what? You ain't got to do nothing, Uncle Phil. Hey, you know.
Uncle Phil also says he's sorry. He recognizes he can't fix this. He would if he could, but he can't. He's truthful, he's honest, and he leaves room for Will to feel as angry and as sad as he does. When you're in a relationship with a kid, as a parent or as an uncle or as an aunt, that's a unique relationship. No one else gets to do that in the way you do because of your presence in their lives. So if they're going to read in the corner, you can read next to them. If they want their own space, you say, great, you'll be here, I'll be downstairs, I'll be over here. Just make room, just be. Sometimes just being with someone is enough. A great example of this most recently in a movie where someone was trying to figure out their identity. One set of parents was telling them one thing, another set was another, is in Superman, the 2025 release of Superman.
Just that they sent me here to serve humanity and to help the world to be a better place. That message is why I do what I do. I cherish it more than anything.
What's interesting is when the second part of that message becomes clear, or clearer, I should say, there's this somewhat disparaging nature about human beings that comes from his parents, that they're weak-minded or they're weak people, that he will be the strongest and he could rule over them all. That's not what he wants to do. He now feels like he has this message that he's supposed to rule over them, and that's really disturbing to him. When he goes to see his earthly parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent, in Smallville, Kansas in the movie, Jonathan actually gives him really good advice.
Parents aren't for telling their children who they're supposed to be. Your choices, your actions, that's what makes you who you are.
Jonathan's giving him that room to be the Superman that he wants to be. He's not directing him to do anything. In fact, when he's called upon by humanity to go and actually save them, his mother, Martha Kent, says, "Oh, I polished your boots." Like, that is an example of support. She sees who he is, and she is helping him. She is supporting him and being the person, being the metahuman that he wants to be. So he's really got this great set of earthly parents that just want him to take up the space he wants to take up. At the end of the movie, what's interesting is when he asks to put on footage of his parents for comfort. This time we see the earthly parents. It's all footage of him with Jonathan and Martha Kent. They have raised him to be who he is. They've not told him, this is who you are. It's very interesting. The beginning of the movie, his Kryptonian parents give him comfort. They tell him, this is who you are. This is why you exist. That's very similar to human growth. In the beginning, we have this idea of who we're supposed to be according to our parents. As we grow up, as we go through adolescence and become adults, ideally, you figure out who you want to be, and you're given the room. You take the space to become that person. And it was an incredible path of growth for Superman in this movie. One reason I like him more than Batman, which is an eternal conversation I have with friends, people always say, no, Batman can be, anybody can be Batman. He's just a human being. He makes it. But the burden that Superman feels that he has to take on is really very similar to the emotional burden I see in many people. At the end of this movie, he says, I have just as much humanity as everybody else. It's true, because he feels this burden. He feels this need to serve. And for that reason, I find him a very complicated, interesting character, much more than just a flying Boy Scout, as people often tell me he is. These are a few perspectives on parenting. Obviously, we're not parenting Kryptonians, but we are parenting children. Let's give them the space that they need to become who they are. That can be scary. If you need to seek out help on parenting, or if you need to talk to people about how to do this best, there are resources out there. This is to give a real clear picture of what happens when we become maybe too invasive or too involved, or what happens when we step too far away and make a kid feel like they're on their own. There is a happy medium. That's what we got to find. Hey, this is still new to me. I'm just starting to do these videos, so please like and subscribe. I've heard that is helpful for me to continue doing this stuff. Put some comments in here if you like, and tune in for the next one.